Hey everybody and welcome back to the channel. So, a few weeks ago, my partner Alex and I were browsing this incredible estate sale just outside of town. You know, the kind of huge old house, generations of stuff piled up, every room a treasure trove. We weren't looking for anything in particular, just enjoying the hunt. That's when we saw it. Tucked away in a dusty attic room, leaning against a wall, was this gorgeous, ornate mirror. It had a heavy, dark wood frame, intricately carved with what looked like vines and flowers. It was definitely old, with that slight, beautiful distortion you see in antique glass. We both just fell in love with it instantly. We got it for a steal, honestly. The auctioneer didn't seem to know much about it, just that it had been in the family for as long as anyone could remember. We were so excited, we wrestled it into the back of our car, brought it home, and spent the better part of an hour cleaning it up. The frame polished up beautifully, and the glass, despite its age, was almost perfect. We decided to hang it in our main hallway, right across from the living room entrance. It looked stunning, reflecting the light, making the whole space feel bigger and brighter. For the first week, it was just a beautiful piece of furniture. We'd admire it as we passed, fix our hair, normal mirror stuff. Everything was perfectly normal. The first weird thing happened about a week later. I was heading to bed, turning off all the lights. The hallway was the last to go. I glanced at the mirror as I flicked the switch, and for a split second, I thought I saw my reflection linger, like the real me was turning away. But the reflection stayed facing forward for a fraction of a second before catching up. I literally stopped and stared into the darkness. I told myself I was just tired, that my eyes were playing tricks on me in the low light. I shook it off, chalked it up to a long day, and went to bed. I didn't even mention it to Alex. It felt too silly. But then, a few days later, Alex brought it up. He came into the kitchen while I was making coffee, looking a bit pale. He asked me, "Have you noticed anything strange about the new mirror?" My heart did a little jump. I asked him what he meant. He said he'd been walking out of the living room and saw his reflection in the mirror turn its head to watch him leave, even after he was already past it and walking down the hall. He thought he was losing his mind. Hearing him describe something so similar to my own experience sent a chill down my spine. That's when we knew something was definitely not right. We weren't just imagining it. So, being the curious, and maybe slightly foolish people we are, we decided to test it. We set up my phone on a small table across the hall, aimed directly at the mirror, and hit record. The plan was simple. We'd walk back and forth in front of it, leaving the hallway, and then review the footage to see if we could catch anything. We did this for about 10 minutes, feeling a little ridiculous the whole time. We walked past, we waved, we turned, and walked out of frame. Then, we sat down together on the couch to watch the video. At first, everything looked completely normal. There we were walking back and forth, our reflections doing exactly what they should. I was starting to feel relieved, thinking maybe we'd just psyched ourselves out. And then we saw it. On the third pass, I walked out of the frame to the left, but my reflection, it didn't. For a full 2 seconds after I was gone from the hallway, my reflection stayed in the mirror, standing perfectly still. And then it slowly, deliberately, turned its head and looked directly at the camera. My stomach dropped. It wasn't a glitch. It wasn't a trick of the light. The reflection had its own agency. It moved on its own. It looked right at us. Alex and I just stared at each other, completely speechless. Tease was real. This was happening in our house. Since that first recording, things have escalated. It's not just lingering anymore. We've captured footage of our reflections moving around the room in the mirror, long after we've left. One night, the camera caught my reflection walking over to the reflection of a painting on the wall and just staring at it. 4 minutes. The real me was asleep in bed. We've seen them adjust their clothes, look out the window in the reflection, even appear to be having silent conversations with each other when both of us are out of the house. It's like we have these silent, glass-bound doppelgangers living a parallel life inside that frame. The creepiest part is the feeling we get now. The house doesn't feel empty anymore. We feel watched, constantly. It's like their presence is bleeding out of the mirror, and into our home. Sometimes, out of the corner of my eye, I'll think I see movement in the mirror, but when I look directly, it's just my normal reflection staring back. We've started covering it with a sheet at night, but that almost makes it worse. It's like we know what's happening behind the cloth, and our imagination runs wild. We've looked up the history of the estate, trying to find any information about the family or the mirror, but we've hit a dead end so far. We've talked about getting rid of it, of course, smashing it, selling it, just taking it out of the house. But there's this weird, morbid curiosity that keeps stopping us. Who are they? What do they want? Is this some kind of echo of the past, or something else entirely? We don't have any answers yet, but we're going to keep documenting this. We need to understand what we've brought into our home. Honestly, we're a little scared, but we also feel like we're on the verge of discovering something unbelievable. So, that's where we are, living with a mirror that shows more than just our reflections. We're going to be posting updates as we investigate further. So if you're intrigued by this mystery, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what happens next. And please, if any of you have ever experienced anything like this, or know anything about haunted objects, leave a comment below. We could really use some advice. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay safe.